Hey puppy, do you like beef? Oh, okay, beef approved. Well, that was some quick eating. That's the microphone. That's the microphone. Hey guys, it's Jasmine and this is Puppy, and in today's video, I'm going to show you once again how to make raw cat food, except this time it is the chicken and beef version. Before we get started, if you are into cat stuff and raw cat food and even things for humans like fitness and nutrition and stress management tips, then make sure to click that subscribe button below as well as the little bell icon that's right next to it, because we do put out new videos every Catterday. And of course, if you are going to want the details for the recipe in this video, including measurements and ingredients, then just go to catladyfitness.com, click on the My Diet tab, and you will see everything on that page. I also created a raw food recipe calculator and a portion size calculator for you guys, which you can also find on catladyfitness.com, and the videos are in the cat stuff playlist. Now, if you've been with us here for a little bit, then you probably saw the video I posted recently about different types of meats and the observations that I noticed using these different types of meats. You may also remember that I called the chicken thigh and beef version my holy grail thus far in the mixes that I've tried for Puppy. I got quite a few requests to show you guys how I make this version, so without any further ado, let's get started. And here we are. If you have seen my other how to make raw cat food videos, then this one will probably look pretty deja vu-ish, and the differences really won't be much since it's all based from the same recipe. But I'm gonna go ahead, just in case you are yet to watch those videos, and show you what you're going to need first. Starting off with a large cutting board, even larger than this one if you have one. You're going to need a large bowl such as this one, hopefully that is designated only for your raw cat food, because that is a good idea to do, just so you don't cross-contaminate anything in the kitchen potentially. A good digital scale like this one, and again, I'm going to link a lot of things in the description below, including how to use the scale in order to use the raw cat food recipe calculator on catladyfitness.com, as well as how to use it for portioning out your cat's meals, a sharp kitchen knife, good kitchen shears, a small bowl, which you can already see I have put 4 egg yolks into here, and I put the egg whites in a separate container that I just put in the fridge, a whisk, and this is going to be to whisk the supplements and water into the egg yolks, a good spoon or spatula, and this is going to be to mix everything in this giant bowl once we have it all in here, measuring spoons. I also recently got these off of Amazon, and I'll link them in the description below. These are awesome, especially if you do a lot of cooking or use supplements often, because these include very, very small measurements. It goes all the way down to what is considered a drop, which is a 1/64 teaspoon. So the vitamin E in this recipe, we use a very, very small portion of. I typically use the 1/16 of a teaspoon for the vitamin E. You will also need a measuring cup, which I already have 1 cup of water in right here. A high-speed blender. This is my trusty Vitamix. And if you don't have a grinder or high-speed blender, make sure to check out my how to make raw cat food video without a blender or a grinder, because you could still make it at home even if you don't have a blender or a grinder, and you could still give your cat this awesome raw food diet. These supplements, which you will definitely need. The first one is taurine powder. And if you have yet to watch my Importance of Taurine trilogy on the Cat Stuff playlist, I definitely suggest checking that out, because this is a very vital, important nutrient for your house lion. You will also need vitamin E powder. You'll need B complex capsules, a high quality salmon oil, light salt, and it's super important that it's light salt. I know I'm a broken record if you've been with us at Cat Lady Fitness for a while, but I do also have a few videos coming out on salt and cats. I actually put one out a little bit ago about if salt is actually bad for cats, so I suggest going and watching that. Now for the meats, and this is where this video is a different variety because in this one, we are using some beef in the mix. As always, we are going to put chicken hearts in the recipe. And also super important, a secreting organ, these livers right here. And of course we have our trusty chicken thighs. And in case you guys were wondering if your butcher or meat department at your grocery store won't grind them up for you, or if you prefer to leave your cat's food kind of chunky like I do these days, then a trick that's not really a trick that you can do to expedite the process a little bit and make it faster for you is to grab your chicken thighs at the supermarket and take them up to the meat counter and just ask them to separate it like this. Can you just separate the meat and the skins and the bones for me? And that's it. Okay, well, thank you so much. Now, obviously, the guy behind the counter in that clip knew me and he already knew what to do, but you can even just say, can you separate the meat, the skins, and the bones for me? I want to keep everything, but I just want them separated. And that saves you some time because when you get home, everything is already separated out. So you basically just have to cut up the thighs. You can toss the bones that you're going to use in the blender if you have a blender, and you can toss the amount of skins that you want to use into the mix. All right, starting with the beef, which I forgot to mention, I typically get the London broil cut, and it is less expensive than some of the other cuts, and it's a little leaner since we mainly use fat from the chicken thigh skin as well as some coming from the salmon oil. Another thing you might want to do is get a trash bag or bowl nearby to toss things easily without touching too much around your kitchen. So what I'm going to do first is turn on the scale, and from here, what I typically do, and this is why I love using beef, so I'll cut it, and it cuts so easily into strips like this. And if you watched my how to make raw cat food without a blender recipe video where I make it using only turkey thighs, then you've learned in that video that I'm not a big fan of gloves. They just kind of get in the way. So then what I like to do is take my kitchen shears and then I pick up each strip and just cut chunks into the bowl, like so. And so you could see the chunks that I cut, they're maybe an inch or so. And I don't think you guys can see him, but I do have a little beggar sitting by my feet right here, which, I mean, it's typical. Though I do suggest if you have multiple cats, you probably want to put them away when you're doing this, otherwise it's just gonna be a hot mess. Like I said, this is already pretty lean. No! Okay, maybe even if you have one cat, you should put them away for this process. Okay, that's inappropriate. Inappropriate! This is about 1.2 pounds of meat right now. For goodness sake, you are no manners, no manners. So it's in pretty decent sized chunks. Puppy approves. He is about to put his foot in the egg yolks. So now let's move on to the chicken thigh portion of this prep. Like I said, as you can see, they separated the meat from the bones from the skin. Another important thing to note too is if there's not much action happening with the scale, then it'll automatically turn off. So all you have to do, and what I would kind of recommend doing, is to remember how much was on there, which I remember because I told you guys, but you just turn it back on. Something that I do just to save it from turning off in this instance is I'm gonna add all of the meat in there just to get that weight. I'm gonna add the bones I'm gonna use, which there are 12 bones, so I'm going to use 9 of them and then toss away the other 3. And in Puppy's case, I typically use half the skins or a little less than half. Since we're not doing only chicken thighs this time and the London broil cut is a pretty lean cut of beef, I'm going to use about half of the chicken thigh skins. And I also talk about the ratio you should use and different parts of this in my weight loss for cats video. So that came to about 3.6 pounds. So what I'm gonna do is add that to the total of beef that we had earlier, and that's what we are going to plug into the recipe calculator on catladyfitness.com just to confirm we have the right amounts of supplements to use in this recipe. So now I just cut the chicken thighs into similar sizes as the beef into the bowl, and we go from there. All right, guys, I cut up all of the chicken thighs as well as all of the skins. And a quick side tip for you guys, if you do have a blender and you're gonna use it like I am in a minute, I always suggest against putting the skins in there, because there was a time where I was like, well, I might as well just throw the skins in there and let them grind with the livers and the hearts. But the skins will get really tangled and caught up in the blade, and it's really, really hard to pry out. So your best bet is definitely just chopping the skins into the mix like this. So as for the bones, I put them here in the blender, and the next thing I'm going to do is enter the amount of meat that we calculated here into the catladyfitness.com recipe calculator in order to make sure that we have the proper amounts and dosages of the supplements, of which I forgot to mention L-lysine, which I do use. This one is completely optional, and I do have a video about this coming up because this is great to add if your cat suffers from conjunctivitis or has weepy, crusty eyes. So I'm going to put in the calculations for the meat so I know exactly how much of the hearts and livers I need to add to the blender, and be right back. All right, so all you have to do is go to catladyfitness.com and then hover over the My Diet tab and click on the raw food recipe calculator, and that will take you to the calculator page, and you just scroll down to this box right here. How much meat are you using in pounds after removing the unneeded bones and half of the skin, or whatever amount of skin you decide to use? My total came to 4.8, and click to calculate. And like I mentioned in another video, even though this always comes up with please enter only digits, it will calculate correctly if you put in the decimals. So then you see all of the totals come up, and now we just add the rest of the ingredients into the mix. So I put the blender with the bones on top of the scale and turn it on, so it should tare to 0, and we're going to start with the hearts. So 427.2 grams of hearts. If anything, I prefer to go a little bit over with the hearts, so 432, close enough. We hit the tare button again, so it goes to 0, and then we're gonna add the livers, 213.3 grams. So I'm gonna get it as close as possible, 216, again, close enough. So then I just blend it all up in the blender. It takes maybe a minute. This thing is super powerful. And then we just dump it in with the rest of the ingredients. And what I like to do is put some of the water in the blender and then put it on high speed to get the very last bits. And then you just add all the supplements in. I prefer to do it into the yolks, whisk it up, and add that to the mix. And you guys know, if you've seen my other videos, the very last thing I like to do is add the fish oil into the mix, because I don't like to put it in the blender. It tends to make it smell all fishy. And of course, be careful, you don't want to smell like a fish farm. And then you mix it really, really well. It looks delicious. And from here, I just use this big spoon to portion it out using the portion size calculator into Tupperware or freezer bags. And there you're all set, ready to go with the chicken and beef version of homemade raw cat food. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed yet another how to make raw cat food video. If you haven't seen it already, I do suggest going to check out my original how to make raw cat food video, as well as the how to make raw cat food if you don't don't have a blender or grinder version, and both of those, again, are in the cat stuff playlist, which you will find in the description below. If you liked this video and found it interesting or helpful, then please make sure to click that thumbs up below, because that helps me know the content that you like to see, and it also helps this video become more visible to people looking to feed their cats the healthiest diet they possibly can. I also want to give a huge thank you to any of you who have supported this channel thus far, whether it is by purchasing catladyfitness.com apparel, like this Cat Lady Life shirt, which also comes in a Cat Dad Life version, or even like this bag right here, which I totally did not even put there on purpose, but that is also in the shop. And of course, all of you who have purchased any of my books through truehealthtrifecta.com or on Amazon, or of course those of you who have gotten your private EFT sessions or health and nutrition consultations. I truly appreciate every single one of you, and it makes me so happy to know that the content that I've created or the resources that I can provide can help you guys, whether it's for your own health or bettering the health of your fur babies at home. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Click subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye.